or a physical
Right.
therapist or a coach, but we're not trying to take anyone's job.
I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there, Elida, because you're like, look, these personal trainers, they're pretty large people and they're very, very fit. We don't want to piss them off. We don't want to piss these guys off.
So the thing here is Major League Sport has already taken note of lightness. And congratulations, by the way, were awarded an NFL award for $50,000 First and Future award for your product. What was it that they saw in Light Lace that made them so enamored? Can you kind of shine a light, pun intended, on that for us?
We get a lot of light puns for sure. There are a lot of selling points of our product. I think one being we can measure different things at the same time instead of relying on like 3 devices. You can just use one shirt that has Light Lace and it can measure both your respiration, your muscle fatigue, and your motion. So if you want to do this currently, you would need 3 different devices. So maybe like a strap that does respiration. You would need sensors that go in your muscles to do that, and then you need camera-based systems for motion tracking. We combine all of it. I think there's a lot of value in that. And because we're an optical-based technology, we have higher sampling rates. So if there's inconsistency between each movement, we're more likely to measure that compared to any other sensor. So I think that was another reason why they were interested. And lastly, I'd also add this. This is a shirt, like we have some shorts behind me, but it doesn't have to be a shirt. And for NFL, for example, leggings, lower body, those are also very important. And it's very, very simple for us to just integrate the sensor into leggings or lower body garments and measure that as well. So there's a potential to measure full body, gloves, shirts, leggings, socks, shoes. It doesn't, depending on what the person wants to know, we don't really have a lot of limitations when it comes to the form factor.
How well do you think, Rob, your Light Lace will perform in an NFL game when it comes to contact? Because these are pressure sensors here.
Well, yeah, and it's contact and weather conditions as well, because you're playing in every single conceivable weather condition in the NFL.
Plus, you're sweating.
And you're
on
sweating.
top of your fiber optics, yeah.
And
Okay.
you're having a car collision on every single play, so you put that
Right, as
on
they
together.
describe it. Yeah, they describe the impact of every tackle as though you're in a car accident every single time.
There are rapid decelerations for sure. We can capture those. As Elida mentioned, we can sample it really, really fast. Think of this as a wearable, ultra high speed motion capture system that can also measure pressure interactions. It has to be worn close to the body, so the temperature variations aren't that big a deal because your body's going to sort of maintain that.
Its own body temperature, right?
It's not electrical, so you can get it wet. There's not really that many environmental sensitivities for using spores, and they can handle high pressures. They're soft, but they're very tough. And toughness means you can absorb a lot of energy before you break.
So you know what this sounds like? If you have a full body lace, it's everything, right? Neck, head, everything, and then you go up with your iOS app. That's a tricorder, isn't it?
That sounds
man,
it's great.
Isn't that a tricorder? The tricorder measures everything that's going on in the body without cutting you open. That's kind of what you've done there.
We don't have to just use our sensor. We can fuse lots of different sensor information.
Right.
Your Apple Watch uses photoplethysmography, which shines light in, measures the reflected light out. Right. And from that, you can get a lot of things. You can get systolic pressure.
Yeah.
You can get respiration rate. But what those systems are missing is
Also, you get your aux numbers too, right? I mean,
That's
pulse
how pulse
oximetry.
oximeter works. Yeah.
the pulse oximeter, right?
The amount of signal processing that goes on to get all that information from that little bit of blood flow is incredible.
Yeah.
What is not there is the amount of air inhaled, which is extremely important.
You can calibrate that by seeing the expansion and contraction of the chest cavity, can't you?
We can.
Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's part of
So
it.
this is better than a tricorder.
Oh, without a doubt.
You have exceeded 25th century technology right here.
Dude.
If we take a step back, you said this is more accurate than the high-speed cameras. Now, we've done shows in the past discussing high-speed cameras, and it was exclusively on baseball and in particular pitchers. Are you now being co-opted to bring this product to baseball, be it college, be it minor league or major league? And are you working with the pitchers? If you can outgun a high-speed camera, you've got to be in there, sure.
Yeah, we're definitely, baseball is going to be our beachhead market. We think there's a lot of value there because they move really fast, especially pitchers, and even with human eye or motion capture camera-based motion capture systems, it's hard to capture that because everything happens in less than 2 seconds. So if you take a camera-based system and you get maybe like 4 data points throughout the pitch, we can give you, let's say, 400 data points, and that's, so you don't have to interpolate between the pitch. You can just look at the pitch and you'll be able to see, oh, pitch 1 versus pitch 10. At this millisecond, you behave differently, and maybe that's why you're not pitching as fast, or maybe that's why you're gonna get injured.
Well, more importantly, well, not more importantly, just as important is form for everything.
Yes.
Form is all of sports.
Yep.
It's all about having that form become a non-conscious second nature.
Muscle memory. Yeah.
Muscle. Thank you.
Yeah.
Muscle memory.
To
You
help
guys are
prevent injury.
actually able to teach muscle memory.
Counter UAV is returning
Yeah.
to base.
So there's a study in 2015 by the first author, I think, is Wilk, and what they showed is that after they sampled 300 baseball players, the ones that had the greater shoulder mobility were 4 times less likely to need Tommy John surgery. So if you can help them increase their internal rotation degree of freedom, then they can increase their lifetime with some reasonable probability. So teaching form is really important, and
Friendly cruise missile inbound.
these things, a pitch takes 2 seconds, but the initial accelerations take milliseconds, and it's obscured. So if you are trying to capture it with external cameras, those cameras need, and we're talking about 10,000 degrees per second shoulder rotations. If you're capturing at 1,000 samples per second, you're undersampling, and you really need to be sampling at, maybe 10 times the rate for a non-periodic motion. There's something called the Nyquist criterion, which says twice, but that's for a periodic motion. For something aperiodic like this, it needs to be even more than that.
Just to clarify, so if you have something that repeats, you can, and you want to measure it, you can say how many data points on this repeating feature do I need to characterize exactly what's going on, and that's your Nyquist frequency you're describing. But if it doesn't repeat, you can't. All bets
Can't
are off.
compare what
right?
doesn't repeat.
No,
Right.
that's it.
And that's a really important point. We think that pitching inconsistency is a huge variable that cannot be measured right now to what matters. This is a hypothesis, and we need to validate it. But we think by measuring faster, you will reveal that the accelerations are faster than are being measured right now. And then if you don't know it and you can't repeat it, you can't get these consistencies. And further, the torques generated in this, we think, are being radically under-reported. And that can result in injuries. And you wonder, why can't people tell when these injuries are going to happen? You should know the soft tissue loading conditions that are viable. But pitchers injure themselves all the time.
This is even outside of sports.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about these applications for rehabilitation, not of athletes, but I'm talking people who have catastrophic injuries,
Yeah.
where they have to learn again how to walk. Everybody thinks that we walk. You learned how to walk. You actually learned how to do all the things that you do that you take for granted. Your brain is running, a process that lets you do these things. And if you damage your brain, then it doesn't work anymore. You have to relearn it. This kind of technology could greatly reduce the amount of time it takes to do that.
Yeah, definitely rehab applications, physical therapy applications. It's just a way to get feedback. If your brain can't get that from your sensors, you can use external sensors like LightLace and see that feedback on an app and then try to behave that way and see how change of behavior, change of the way you're moving, change of your motion is affecting that light lace breathing.
One of the themes here is that we have sensors. We can feel ourselves, but we have imperfect memories and biased memories. And so being able to digitally record.
You think?
I constantly think I'm 6'2". But anyway, we have these. If we can digitally record this information, then we can go back not just with ourselves, but with other sports scientists and physiologists and help you with less bias, interpret what's happening. And physical therapy, a great application where I'm horrible at doing physical therapy. I've never successfully completed a physical therapy regimen. And I think if I was reporting my information to the doctor, they